Tomorrow they're releasing a patch which introduces two new tools for us to use, the Chainshot and the Blunderbomb. Here's my take on it before we know any more. Firstly, I am an insider, but you're gonna have to take my word for it that I've done no science with the new stuff, purely so that I can make this video and make some predictions and presumptions because I love doing that kind of stuff, and I want to give you guys a little head start on how to use them just with the way that they present in the public footage that we've seen. Before we go any further, it's come to my attention that nearly 60% of you guys aren't subbed. Make sure you chainshot that sub button. Anyway, carrying on. So, chainshot. If you're not familiar with chainshot, in the real world, it's designed to take down masts. Specifically, it's designed to tear up the rigging and tear up the sails, as sometimes it's used as anti-personnel on land. In Sea of Thieves, there isn't a rigging hitbox, so what they're doing is they're using the chainshot to hit the mast to take the mast down specifically. We also know that it will destroy the helm, the capstan, as well as taking down the mast, though I don't think it will one-shot a player. This would be nice though. Now let's look at the things that it is going to do against the ship. It's going to destroy the capstan, but is it going to drop it? I'd love to see a direct hit to the capstan drop it again, though I don't want to see that happen through splash damage, and I think this chainshot would be the perfect item to be able to use for that. Whether or not they've implemented that, I don't know. It also destroys the helm, which as a solo slooper, this is one of the most annoying things to happen as you've already enough to do. Against the bigger crew, again, not such a big issue. It's more just going to be a problem of draining supplies. The big one here is that it's going to drop the mast. I already said this, but I don't think it's going to be a problem against the bigger ships. Against sloops, however, I think this might be a little bit of a game changer if you're not paying attention. You need to be very aware of what they're shooting at you, and if you hear the telltale sign, make sure you're getting ready to grab that mast, stick a plaster on it, and then get it out of there again. Another positive of the chainshot is pretty much like any of the other cannonballs, in that you can't really prepare against it other than removing the ship's angle that they have on you. You just have to deal with it when it hits. They also said that all ships will start with chainshot now, meaning it makes sense to scuttle at the start if you can't find extra on the outpost, just to give yourself that additional extra supply. Though, knowing Sea of Thieves, it's very likely that there's going to be a lot of this new chainshot around, at least at the start, but something to bear in mind if you do spawn on an outpost that doesn't have very many supplies. There are a few things that I'd like to know though. Does it go through players? So will it go through a player and hit the mast? Will it go through multiple players? Will it also kill a player if it hits that player when it goes through them and take down the mast? I would absolutely love to see this be a thing, make this chainshot really deadly. Will it go through multiple masts? This would be quite a big game changer and completely nullify some of the things I've already said, especially against the bigger ships. I very much doubt that it's going to go through multiple masts, but if they added a rigging hitbox, it'd be nice to see if it went through multiple of those. And lastly, will it have a bigger splash damage? And will the projectile be bigger in general? Again, I very much doubt it. I feel like it's going to have the same physics as a normal cannonball, except for it'll have a slightly different flight path. But depending on the size of the splash damage and the size of the projectile, this will really impact how easy it is to land. I think what's going to happen, or what has been happening so far, is people are going to scaremonger over this new ability that you're going to have in the game. They did the same thing when cursed cannonballs come out, especially in regards to solo sloopers, saying that it would kill our solo sloopers off, but we're still here. So consider these things. First of all, it's going to be hard to land. People said cursed cannonballs, for example, would be the end of solo sloopers. But in reality, how often does another crew hit you with a cursed cannonball? If they do, I feel like it's more like luck than actually a placed cannonball, unless they're pretty much right on top of you. Chainshot is said to have a different flight path to a normal cannon, and that alone will make it hard for people to adjust to. And again, I really do think it'll come down to a lot of luck whether or not they're going to land it on your ship. The second thing to consider here is that it's not going to be that much of a bigger threat to the bigger ships, because bigger ships have more masts, which means you're going to need more chainshot to be able to take the mast down, which means you're going to need more luck and better accuracy overall. And even if you do hit a mast on a bigger ship, or any ship that has more than one crew member on, the chances are they're going to catch that mast and patch it up before it even hits the deck. Honestly, as far as things go to consider here, I don't think there's going to be much problem with having these chainshots in the game. It's just going to mix up the combat a little bit more. So when should you use it? People right at the start will very likely be leading with the shot, and I don't think that's the way you should use it. Yeah, it's going to be fun to use for sure, and you want to get used to it, I understand that. And its main use you would think would be to take down masts, which is a fair assumption. But against bigger ships, it doesn't completely disable the ship and a good crew can catch it before it falls. Its primary use in his opinion will count on bleeding their supplies, given that when you take down a mast, it takes 3 to repair the mast, it takes at least 3 to repair the helm, and depending on the ship, can take between 1 and 3 to repair the capstan. My play to begin with, if possible, I would use an anchor ball to disable the ship completely, and then use the mast shot afterwards. This I think will be the best use of the chain shot, and even if you are against a competent crew, you're going to keep them stationary for a lot longer. Again, against the bigger ship, you're going to have 3 masts that you need to deal with. So if you're just on a sloop, you're going to need to have that good accuracy with your chain shot. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but a ship that is completely stationary that can still turn is still a ship to worry about. You most notice this when you come to forts, which is something that I talk about quite a lot over on Twitch, because it does get on my nerves a little bit that the ship can stay stationary and take a lot of damage, but still be more effective than you, which is why I like to use an anchor ball in many situations where possible, and with the chain shot, the anchor ball is going to be invaluable. Next, the Blunderbomb. So what we've seen with the Blunderbomb is essentially it's a hand grenade, which is something that people have wanted in the game for quite a long time. The positives of the Blunderbomb so far that I can see is that it rocks ships heavily and it's great extra damage to complement the weapons you already have. Although we don't really know how much damage it does and what the range of that damage is, and if there is even any splash damage to be noticeable anyway. I don't really see any negatives with the Blunderbomb. It's just an extra tool, which I think that we've needed for a long time. So without some proper testing, I can't really say for sure what I think the negatives will be, other than perhaps people will use it at the wrong times and get themselves killed. So I have a bunch of questions when it comes to the Blunderbomb. What's the overall damage? What's the splash damage? Does it have the same range as a firebomb when you throw it and when you fire it from a cannon? Can you rock the ship when it's thrown? Does it destroy the helm or capstan? Now, I know a lot of that information is out there on the insider build. Like I said, if you are part of the insiders, make sure you don't share this. Make sure that everything you give is accurate as of the patch that comes out. They are known to tweak things at the last moment, so don't get yourself in trouble. Again, I genuinely don't know any of this information. I just like making predictions on new tools that they give us to the game. So when should you use the Blunderbomb? So when do I think you should use the Blunderbomb? When it comes to using it against ships, I think you either use it to knock the focus off the cannons, but most importantly use it to rock ships. If you see from the footage that we've seen so far, it very, very heavily rocks the ship. And if you look at the cannon trajectory here, I think that you're going to disable the ship's offensive capabilities by hitting it with a blunder shot. And if you can chain between your crew using a Blunderbomb and a cannonball every time you pass, you're going to make it very, very difficult for the other ship to land any accurate shots on you at all. And if you can disable a ship's offensive capabilities, it gives you a lot more time to breathe. However, if it does destroy the capstan or the helm, it might be worth firing at both of these positions too. Though, if it doesn't destroy either of those, I personally think that you shouldn't use the Blunderbomb for this, at least until I've tried it a bit more. You should just use a regular cannonball, because if you land a regular cannonball on their anchor when they're raising it, you're going to get a kill. And I say this very often, killing a player from another crew is far more effective than landing 10 cannonballs. When it comes to using the Blunderbomb against players, however, in specifically direct PvP combat, use it to clear corners or chip away damage. Combo it with fire, and it will be a great item which will really sway the fight in your direction. I wouldn't use it to clear folks off ladders like you've seen in the footage that Sea of Thieves released. I think it's a bit of a waste of a tool that can be used elsewhere. I'd be more in favor of using it to secure a kill rather than a utility against other players. If you want to knock somebody off a ladder, you can use the blunderbuss at present, which will knock them off, or you can use your sword. And here, where he mentions being a skilled player and being able to do this, I don't think that this should be possible regardless. There is a bug that you can do or use when it involves using weapons, and people use it far too often. And I feel like that this is exactly that. However, while it's still in the game, it still works. And it saves you using your firearm in close quarters for when you actually do get up. But don't be surprised if they add a delay when coming off the ladder before you can draw a thrown weapon. I'm really looking forward to this new update that's happening tomorrow, and I'm especially looking forward to the tall tale that comes with it. If you guys don't know, I stream live on Twitch most days of the week, but when it comes to the tall tales, I usually do these with my son. We've done all of the other tall tales, and this new tall tale won't be an exception. Check out the links below. We'll find out what works and what doesn't after some playing with both of these in organic situations. And when I have some real world experience to share with you, expect a full breakdown as soon as possible. I just wanted to make this a quick video just to talk about how to use it in the early stages and how I'll be using it. I'm sure the tactics of use with both of these new items will evolve very quickly, and there'll be very unexpected ways to use it, which I look forward to learning. If you've got some predictions of using these new tools, stick them in the comments below. I've been ToejahM. I've been your temporary ship's captain. I'll see you later.
Daddy! I heard that!
What?
This is my revenge now, boy!